It's a big one. Hello and welcome to episode 50 of the Grove podcast. A half century. We've made it. You can breathe a sigh of relief, Tabs. We have made it. We've done it. I'm so proud of us. I'm so proud of the Grove, the guests, the listeners. Not so proud of the team. And I will explain why as we go on. How are you, first and foremost, Tabs?
I'm good. I'm glad it's 24 hours rather than 24 minutes after yesterday. And if you can see what I'm wearing tonight, you can see that I might be changing my allegiances to another sport and another team. I'm wearing I'm wearing my LA Rams NFL top, and
It
so
does that to the best of men.
if we want to talk about that instead, I'll be more than happy. But no, I'm good. I'm good. But not as not. But you're not that well. You've been enjoying Arsenal too much, haven't you, recently?
I'm Arsenaled out my tits, as one of the guys at Newcastle away said to me when he heard my voice. He says, "You're Arsenaled out your tits." Um, yeah, just got a little bit of like a cough, sore throat when I swallow, but nothing's going to stop me from seeing you guys in Milan on Wednesday and eating pineapple on pizza and cappuccinos at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm buzzing, Tabs, absolutely buzzing.
Don't you dare! Don't you dare!
Let's just get straight into it. I know obviously we never recorded one after Preston. I just want to mention that the reason why was Tabs was in Barcelona. He actually has a life outside of. I'm so shocked. He has a life. One thing I need to pick a little bit, Tabs, though, is you wanted to question my commitment on the episode before that, and it was with Jamie, and I heard it, and I said, "Oh, Tabs questioning my commitment," and then you miss episode 50 after Preston. Don't give me the fishing rod. You know it was coming. And look, I was very nice. I said I'm not going to record episode 50 without the main man himself. So here we are. So just wanted to touch on Preston very quickly, but obviously everyone knows this is the Grove podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on this. We are going to discuss and dissect Newcastle away and talk about Milan away as well. However, Preston, I mean, 5,700 fans, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Just great, great atmosphere, great result, great performance. Ethan Waneri, what a player! Don't think he can do it on a Premier League stage just yet, as was evident maybe against Newcastle. But overall, great trip. Really glad I went down. And even before that, Tabs, my week was set up really nicely by your wife and her lasagna. That was, I feel like the listeners need to know what kind of man is behind, or what the man behind the voice. So Tabs very kindly offered for me to go all the way to Slough, people. Yeah, Slough. I had to go.
It's Windsor
He's like,
Borders.
no,
Thank you very much. It's Windsor Borders.
Windsor borders. Yeah, the train stopped at Slough, and you dropped me off at Slough. So for me, you live in Slough. And so I went to Tab's house. I met his wife. I met his son. So Tab's son does exist, and he looks like a good football player. He's just like a mini Tabs with the banter as well. I quite liked that. But no, just wanted to say thank you so much for your hospitality. That was brilliant, and the lasagna was nice, and it was just a great night. So I appreciate that, and that set up the whole week really nicely. Um, and we find ourselves on a Sunday evening talking about what could have been a perfect week. But let's just get straight into it, rip the plaster off. What was your highlight and low light from the game against Newcastle yesterday?
Before I touch on that, so yeah, look, thanks Moz for helping us get to episode 50, and thanks listeners for sticking with us thus far. I'm surprised we're still here, but we're going strong. And look, we're here for the good times, and they have been in the main good times since we started this pod. But we're also going to be here for the bad times. No matter how painful or how much we want to ignore Arsenal or football, we're here come rain or shine. So it may not be a lot of fun, but we'll try and remain level-headed. We're not going to put lipstick on a pig. I'm not going to be here, Mr. Positivity, but we'll see where we go. In terms of my low light was the fact that actually I made sure that I got an early flight from Barcelona. So I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning with two 16-year-old 16-year-old girls, my daughter and her friends, before anyone gets the wrong idea, and then and yeah, and made sure that we got the flight back to be home in time so I could watch it. And I so wish that the flight was delayed, and I missed it. So that was my low light. Was I was absolutely cream crackered, and my highlight was Bournemouth 2, Man City nil, because it softened what was
2-1.
quite a
2-1.
quite a oh 2-1. Sorry, it softened what was quite a horrible day. So that would be my highlight and low light. What about you, Moz?
So my highlight was being there. It was a great, again as usual, Newcastle away, great atmosphere. You know, the fans were in good voice up until kind of minute 12 of the game. Um, but that's about it. And Tabs, episode 50, I want to remain really impartial today, and I want to remain really fair. And I feel like I have been for the previous 49 episodes. But we need to have a serious discussion
Absolutely.
about how we're playing this season. And that's my low light. My low light is we were honestly terrible, absolutely terrible on Saturday. There's not one player that I would say was over a 3 out of 10. And I think the best player in the park for me was probably Thomas Partey, in terms of his defensive work at right back, in a position he doesn't play very often. And I know you've wrote, we're losing him in midfield and putting him at right back, and he's exposed, but with players who are a little bit pacey, but he did well against Luis Diaz against Liverpool, and I think he was okay against Newcastle. But I'm not saying he was the best. But what I want to say is I've got a lot to say about the game, and I've got a lot to say about the performance. I've got a lot to say about some of the players, and the main low light for me was after the game. You've got, I don't know how many fans we had, with it maybe 4,000 in the away end. You only have Ben White, Jurriën Timber, and Declan Rice coming to applaud the fans. The rest just walked down the tunnel. Arteta kind of clapped and walked away. We've come a long distance. Some have, in fact, most of the fans have come further than I have on a 1.5 hour train. And that to me just showed, maybe they're really annoyed with the result, yes, but we're a team at the end of the day, and we can't lose sight of that. And a lot of fans in the ground picked up on that. There was chants of, or not chants, but there was pockets of fans saying Arteta's time was up. I don't agree with that. I just want to preface this with, I don't agree with that at all. I think he's done a fantastic job. But if we end up finishing, they were saying if we end up finishing fourth this season and don't win a cup or anything like that, then what is happening? But anyway, let's just start off by talking about the lineup and going from there, and then I'll give you my thoughts as we go. And I'm sorry if my voice is getting all crackly. I'm not crying. I'm not upset. I'm just really bloody ill. So we started off with a pretty decent team. I think it was evident from probably quite early on, to be honest, though, that maybe having Trossard and Martinelli on at the same time wasn't working. I don't know how you felt about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in hindsight that we can say, and but also you could sort of see it coming as well. I think Trossard had one of his worst games and technically poor, and actually he's been a bit on borrowed time the last few games. But what are the options that we have? We know he can finish and stuff like that. And yes, he does some good stuff. And off the back of Liverpool, so actually we had practically the same team. Saliba coming in for White, and okay, we did really well against Liverpool, and so we should expect similar from against Newcastle. And so I wasn't too worried about the team. I was actually worried that Partey against Gordon was going to be an issue, but they played Gordon on the other side against Timber, and actually that was clever. Unfortunately, and I hate to say this, Howe got outmanaged. Howe outmanaged Arteta. He tactically he was better, and he set themselves up better, and we didn't have an answer. So, he actually put Gordon against Timber, knowing that Timber would maybe be a bit more attacking, a bit more inverting, so there'd be more space behind Timber. Which again, and I think maybe that was a part of the reason they scored their goals. That space was there. You're right. Partey did well at right back. I think we're less worried about him at right back, but we lose a lot of what he offers in the middle. So actually, the team I wasn't so worried, but then it was plain to see that we were just missing any creativity. It's fine. As I said, it's fine against Liverpool. Liverpool attack you, so leave space. So therefore, you've got more options. You've got more space. to run into. Newcastle, it's just so obvious what they were going to do. So obvious how they were going to set up, the way they were going to play, and we can touch on it a bit later. So yeah, and my initial thoughts were fine. It is what it is. I can't see anything different. You're right. We mentioned Waneri about the Preston game. We've got a small sample size with Waneri, and he's good. But starting a game like this, he's 17. He's expecting him to be Odegaard like. Yeah, not yet, and you forget that his how young he is and how tiring it is. And you've also got to think, okay, if he does start, he's going to come off after 60 minutes because he'll be absolutely shattered. Then what? So it was a bit of a pragmatic lineup, but I wasn't so worried. But on your point, what you said was interesting. On your point about the players, I can accept us playing badly, and we played badly. We were shocking. But what then the intangible stuff about we look like we're lacking drive, energy. I don't want to say we had bad attitude, but there's something was missing there. Something seemed wrong, and that I don't get because there's all the talk about this team and the team spirit and how we are and that togetherness and the talk at the end of last season and so on. So something's not there, and so I'm thinking, are they sort of feeling sorry for themselves? So we've been through the ringer the first 10, 8, 9 games of the season. Nothing seems to be going right for us. So maybe that's starting to impact the players. They just want something to fall their way, something to go right, and sometimes you need that. It's a bit like a goal scorer. When they get their goal, doesn't matter how it happens, then it lifts them. And I feel that maybe there's a phrase here. You can't drink from an empty cup, and I just feel like they're empty. Maybe mentally, just it's just it's taking its toll, and so I think that's part of it. And there's something there. We just need something there to sort of go our way. And I feel like they're just a bit beaten, and it's really hard to get yourself. When you're in a funk, it's really hard to lift yourself out of that funk, and you need something to happen. I don't know what it is or how it will do it. Odegaard coming back, that may help, and all the rest of it might give players a lift, but they just need something. So I think there's something there mentally that they're finding difficult, and eventually it's just like I've just had enough. In life and whatever, and yeah. So I can. That's the bit I don't understand. Playing shit. People play shit. We're not. No one's perfect, but it's difficult to understand, and that's why I think maybe that's part of. They're just not thinking straight, and that's where we are.
No, and I don't want to dig out individual players because on Saturday I genuinely, when I said I don't think anyone played well, I really don't think they did. But I just want to kind of allude to that where you have Ben White who comes on and misplaces his first four passes, and then Zinchenko, misplacing passes, and it's almost like he didn't know, do I pass out wide? Do I pass him? And there was one time where he passed and just hit the bottom of his studs and misplaced it, and then Newcastle got a shot on target from it. But what was really concerning was the fact that we only had one shot on target the whole game, and I think that was from their corner in the first half, and from the corner we had, and it was like a goalmouth scramble almost, and that was it.
Yeah, Marino. Yeah, it was after the. Yeah, it was from the one actually prior to that. That's when Saka crossed a brilliant ball across the 6-yard box, and there was no one attacking it, and Shah put it over his own crossbar. Yeah, it just needed someone to go in there. It was from that corner that Marino then had a shot, and it was just bodies. I thought, oh, what an amazing save. No, there's 7 bodies on the line and stuff. So it's like, you're right. That was our only shot in the first half on target.
So this is the other thing I wanted to say is, like, I'm not calling out individual players at all, but when Saka was down on the wing and running in to try crossing the ball into the box, it was just like no one else seemed to be in the box. And there was a picture on Twitter going around. I don't know if you managed to see, but the picture shows Saka isolated up top. There's like 6 Newcastle defenders back, and no one's in the box. No one's around the box. No one's even near the box. Martinelli and Trossard both on the left. It was a shambles. It was an honest shambles from start to finish. I don't understand. I don't understand what happened. I don't understand why we played like we did. The goal went in for Newcastle in kind of the was it the kind of 12th, 13th minute, and we should have had chances to score after that, but we never created any.
Yeah.
And their goal, to be honest with you, I mean, Pretty decent. I think so. What happened was Gabriel took one step forward before the cross got played in, and if he didn't, I think he might have got to it. But look, it was a great cross, great header. Raya had no chance of saving it, and it all came from a Thomas Partey clearance. It was, which was just one of those ones that you can't really blame him for. But it wasn't a goal you can blame anyone for. It was just a goal that happened. It was just a reaction after that. And that lifted up the home fans. The home fans were silent for the first 50 minutes of the game. And then that kind of just yeah, it made them really, really flat. So
Yeah,
what are your thoughts?
but that was what I was thinking. So no, that was what I was thinking. Like 12:30 kickoff. Actually, I was thinking that's actually a good time for us. So normally 12:30 is a quiet atmosphere. People haven't been out drinking and stuff like that. So actually, you're right. Don't give them a chance to get into the game. Don't give the crowd anything. And you're right. And you're right. We had no response. So the 2 points. The creativity, there was no creativity there. It was basically give it to Saka, but then he's two against one. Hey, let's see what happens. He's our star boy. Give it to him. Let's see what happens. Or give it to Martinelli, but he was just running down blind alleys. Livramento had him all day, no chance. And then like Havertz was coming out wide or going to the middle. So where's our centre forward? Trossard couldn't trap a Saka cement. So you're right. Yeah, right. The one shot we had zero creativity. Where was that coming from? Who was doing that? Because it wasn't coming from Rice, it wasn't coming from Marino. Our fullbacks weren't given the chance. So that was a real concern. And we've gone up to Newcastle and lost with Odegaard in the team. So look, as I said, this was so obvious what Newcastle were going to do. There were lots of fouls, like Joel Linton, how he didn't get booked for just repeating foul. And we knew that was working. They worked hard. They would frustrate mid block. They block the midfield, make the game about transitions and counter attacks. The ball was hardly in play. I think it was a very low number. They had game management, which apparently for Newcastle it's fine for them to do, but if we do it, then like we get criticised to hell. And they had a plan. I think this was very much whoever scores first wins game, because I don't think they offered nothing against us. They had hardly anything. So they had that one goal and they just shut up shop. Here you go. We know you're not going to be able to break us down. And it was a case of one of those ones where, because Newcastle are not a good team. If you look at that back four, Hall and Livramento and Dan Burn. I mean, Jesus, and Pope and goal. Come on, they're nothing. And Shutter's okay, but there's not a crack defensive team, and we didn't threaten them at all. And so they're there for the taking. And this was a case of when that phrase hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. This was a perfect example of that. And we struggled against it, and it was terrible. But and Arteta couldn't find an answer either. There was like he's a bit pragmatic. And the other thing is, okay, fine, this team that he's built, and this is the biggest thing for me, or second biggest thing. So one, creativity. Where's that creativity? Well, three big things. One was the creativity. Two was the attitude type thing. But this team is meant to be big on winning duels. He's built this team to be a big team, all about winning duels. He got Marino in, who was meant to be the top duel winner in the whole of Europe. And that's at the expense of our creativity. And so this should be the game where we show that duel winning capability. If you're not going to do it against Newcastle away, there is no other. And we only won 43% of our duels in the day, and that's thanks to Canon stats. So we were nothing. So we weren't the team that we're meant to be. We're not the team creativity, and mentally we weren't there, and we were very easy for Newcastle to defend against, and they offered nothing. So there's what I mean. So poor around. So the execution by the players was bad, and the execution by the management was bad. And look, he can both be really bad on the day and be a really
Yeah.
good manager. That's
I,
that's
can I,
fine. And again, individuals can have bad
can I
days,
just say
but
I really
go
don't think
on.
Newcastle. You mentioned at the very start of that when you're speaking about ball being out of play and things. I honestly don't think Newcastle were and I don't think you mean this, but they weren't at fault for that at all. There is games where Newcastle are very good at doing that, but there was no frustration from us watching that Newcastle were wasting
No,
time, or
no, no, no.
there was a couple. But
Yeah.
hang on, before I forget what I'm going to say, because episode 50 and Tab still loves to. Even as your wife said, you love the sound of your own voice sometimes, and I was trying to speak about 10 times in that bonanza, shall we say, of a sentence you gave me. But Nick Pope wasted time a couple of times in the game, and he was spoken to by the ref. But Newcastle weren't being dirty and weren't being, like in that way. And the referee had a very good game as well, managing that. I think he could have gave a couple of yellow cards early on for some fouls from Joe Linton, for example. But I also think that he could have given yellow cards to Arsenal players for some fouls as well. But this is the one game this season, Tabs, where I've watched that and think we can't blame the ref, we can't blame the opposition. The only person or team we can blame is ourselves. And it was just constant crap. Like it was Havertz was nowhere to be seen. Havertz looked unwell, like he'd been down on the piss in Preston instead of playing. It was just like he just looked so lethargic and slow. Saka looked like a shadow of the player he was. Trossard and Martinelli kept kind of stumbling over each other. Marino looked really average. Declan Rice was the only one really with a little bit of passion in midfield, and I don't know. I'm really worried. I'm genuinely really worried because these things normally for Arsenal it's the annual, three losses or whatever, or three bad results. And I really think it's like a get out of jail card. The fact that Man City lost on the weekend. Yes, Liverpool won, but Liverpool's like the elephant at the top of the tree, as everyone said about us last season. And I don't think they will be top of the league at the end of the season. But we should be really, really thankful
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Villa lost,
No,
Chelsea drew, and that Man City lost, because otherwise this could have been a horrific week. People after this weekend, we people were saying we could have found ourselves in seventh, eighth in the league. So, and I keep saying, Tab, sorry, one more thing before I let you speak. We keep saying, oh, we've not got a second gear, we've not got into third gear or whatever. I don't think we've even started this season. Give me a game where we have played, you think, and you've thought afterwards, this is a title winning team. There's not PSG at home potentially was the only game we played that we actually looked semi decent, and that was it.
yeah, no, I don't think we have. I'd say that circumstances contextual. I mean, we've had halves like the first half against was it Southampton. We just totally just dominated them, but we just didn't have.
But
We
halves don't win you
no, no,
leagues.
no, no, no. Oh no, I absolutely agree. No, no, no. But I would say the context around that is the fact that we've had the injuries, we've had the red cards, and so on. And so it it's not a case of getting out of second gear. We're trying. We've got a massive season ahead with so many games. So you're trying to manage games, and actually, and it's the same with we did it last year, and City do it. No one is really firing on all cylinders at the beginning of the season, unless you're Tottenham. But no one wins the league. We laugh at Tottenham. Oh, look how great they are! How great they are! After October, bang, they're good for nothing. And so on. So I'm not so worried about it. It's I'd be more concerned. We're a margin at the moment. What frustrates me a little bit is that we are a margins team, either through games or through period of games, and therefore, and those margins haven't been going for us. We're very much like 1-0. We'll hang on to a 1-0 or 2-1 or whatever. It's not like 3-4-0. We haven't had any comfort in any of the games really for extended period of times. In the league, PSG was relatively comfortable, and that was at arm's length. But we're such a fine margins team because we're trying to manage games, trying to manage players, and therefore those margins have been going for us. And then what happens is that we're a good team when we're drawing or when we're winning. We're fine. We're a good team. We can hold that. We're fine. But when we're losing, the current situation is that we have nothing there to get us back into games or get us from a draw to a win against these more difficult teams. And even the game that we did win, and it was great winning to Villa away. two miss hits away from being 2-0 down. Um, we're reliant on rare save and Watkins miss. So yeah, I'm not worried about. For me, it's not like, oh, we need to be second, third, fourth gear. I can understand us trying to manage stuff. It's more our creative options. And you look back at the summer window, we've sort of have we left ourselves short. We didn't get the striker. We didn't get. I'm not counting Sterling as an option at the moment. We didn't get the striker. We don't have someone who can stand in for Odegaard, or if we do, it's Waneri, because he let Vieira go and he let ESR go, and they were the right decisions. But has he then left us short? So it's the creativity bit that's missing, and in terms of the margins as well, is that we seem to be a bit of a Goldilocks team. So everything has to be perfect. So for us to function. So either winning or all our players are available. So it's worrying. How are we going to get out? As I said, how are we going to get out of this funk in terms of mentally or as a team? How do we get out of this? Because even the Tottenham game was a win on a set piece, and we were relying on set pieces to get us through some of the earlier games. So where's that? The concern is, and rightly so, is yeah, how are we going to get out of this? Where's that concern? And I agree with you in terms of the Newcastle thing. I don't think they did anything bad. They're just very good at doing those things, and so. But the ref was fine, and they were fine. But yeah, how are we going to get through this? Odegaard may be back for Milan, he may be back for Chelsea, but then all of a sudden, will that make a difference?
It's so telling and it's so worrying as well at the same time that we were relying on one
Yeah,
player to make our team click again. That's not the way it should be.
yeah,
On paper, Arsenal can still win the
yeah.
league with the squad that we put out against Newcastle. So I don't really know what to say, what to think. It's actually annoying me more talking about it, and this is meant to be our therapy. But I'm getting more annoyed because I think about
No, I just want to make one point on that bit, is that again, in isolation, I think we'd be fine. I think it's that cumulative effect of all the things that have happened so far this season. It's no excuses, but it gives reason to it. So you're right. We could survive the odd game with this 4-2-4 formation, or relying without being Odegaard. But Odegaard's only been out for 2-3 months, and I say it's the cumulative effect of having to sort of be different with what we've got. Now there are reasons for it. The transfer window, missing key players, injuries, suspensions, whatever. For me, it's that cumulative effect. So trying to put some context, but yeah,
it's annoying me more, and I'm worried. I'm worried for Milan. I'm not too worried for Milan because it's just one game in a group stage where we should still go through. Maybe we don't make it in the top eight, but I'm worried for Chelsea next week. And then we don't have the easiest run of fixtures. People we look at our fixture list and you think, right, when's it going to be a good time to actually play some teams you can pick up points against? But we've got Forest at home who are above us in the league. Then we play against West Ham away. Then we play against Man U. Then Fulham away. Then we have a little bit of a lull, shall we say, with Everton, Palace, Ipswich. Then we have Brentford, Brighton, Tottenham, Villa. So the games come thick and fast, and it's a real worry. It's a concern, and I know everyone will say, "Oh, do you know it's only 10 games into the season, and we're only 7 points behind Liverpool. They're not going to be winning every single game all season. They lost to Forest, and they might lose to the likes of City or Man U or whoever." But something needs to change, and it's not because of just Martin Odegaard being out that this team are playing like this. I wonder if maybe him coming back will just lift and boost everyone a little bit, and give them the impetus that they need. It just shows as well how much we're missing Calafiori. It just he's only been here for a matter of weeks, and it was evident that we were crying out for someone like him on Saturday. Let's move on a little bit and just talk about chances. So obviously we've talked about the goal for Newcastle. We talked about Marino's shot in the first half. Second half, I thought there would be subs. I thought he would have brought Trossard off for Waneri and right the second half, but he never. He waited 15, 20 minutes. Zinchenko and Waneri came on for Martinelli and Marino, which Yeah, I mean, just standard subs. It was tough because you wrote here that obviously we sent Vieira on loan, Smith Rowe got sold, and they were right decisions. But as you mentioned before, Waneri's only option to Odegaard. We don't really have anyone else like that. So do we dip into the transfer market in January to get cover for him? I don't know. I don't know whether that would then push Ethan down more in the ranks, for games. I just don't know. He didn't. He was found out against Newcastle. He only had a handful of touches against them. He wasn't getting on the ball. He had a shot. I think Declan Rice. Have you wrote this down? Declan Rice had a chance right at the end. Yeah, you have. Declan Rice
Yeah,
had a big chance at the
yeah.
end of the game with the header. It was very timid, but apart from that, we were so toothless. And I don't know, Tabs. What do we do? What do we do in January?
Uh, well, I don't know. Just say on the Waneri thing, he's going to be brilliant. I think he's going to be really good, and I think we're managing him right because still young. I think throwing him in starting again, you've got to plan for him being shattered by the 60th minute because he's still 17, trying to play a Premiership game, and so on. You've got to also have these plans around that. You're right. He had 11 touches in 30 minutes. To be again, I'm not saying he got found out. I mean, no one came in and showed any. I think the only time we actually looked good from the substitutions was when White was there, Waneri and Saka. So we had a little bit of a pod there on the right hand side. You could see they were trying to force combinations, but they weren't familiar. So you said White passed and no one was making the run because Waneri was on the back foot, or Waneri had passed and no one there. So, but when someone who's brilliant comes in and the team are playing shit, or that thing, when you're a really good team and you play a bad team, you resort you become you only play as well as the team that you're playing against. That phenomena that often happens. And again, someone coming in, just the vibe from a load of people, yeah, and there wasn't any space for him. There wasn't anything that he could really do. I'm sure he tried and he did his best, but it was sort of a wake up call for him to say, okay, it's not always like Preston or Bolton, or whatever. Teams when there's no space, this is where the likes of Odegaard come into their own because they know how to manipulate the ball, manipulate space, manipulate their run, and he's still learning that. So I've got no fear for him in the future. As I said, we are where we are with the team. And yes, we are to a certain extent reliant on Odegaard, and we can't. The formation that we have with the team that we have, we can't keep doing that without him. We've got to try and find a way. We maybe be less risk averse. Bring Jesus in, but he's not exactly showing much. Got to try things. But I think I still think we're still a very good team. We're still so again, it's not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We're a very good team. I think it may be a slight tactical change. More bit go back to the 4-3-3. If you're going to play Trossard and Havertz, have Havertz as a 9 and just bring Trossard into the right 8 role. Not this dovetailing thing because they neither do one nor the other, and so on. And again, it's fine for 1 or 2 games, but not for consistent and not against these good teams where they will work you out. We miss that striker. So I would say in the winter transfer window, I'd be more focusing on a centre forward than an Odegaard alternative, because as I said, you don't want that person instead of Waneri, and I think we'd be fine. I would rather have a striker because then Havertz can come back and we've got a striker there, and then great.
I can't I
That
can't
for me,
see
but
us
that's
I can't see us going for a striker. We've got Sterling, we've got Jesus, we've got Martinelli, Trossard that can play for the middle, Havertz. We're not going to go in for a striker in January. No chance. No chance Arteta would do that because you would instantly lose faith, and that's him just saying that he loses faith in 3 or 4 of
yeah.
the
But
players
if
that
they're not
can
if
do
they're
a
not
job there.
delivering, I mean, he's lost. I think Jesus is shot. Uh, Sterling isn't offering anything at the moment. If he's going to be ruthless and be the manager he wants to be, then he's got to say, right, okay, what's more important? Keeping Sterling, who's going to bugger off, or Jesus, he's going to go happy, or do I need to do something now to win the league? The problem is whether anyone's available, and I'm sure they've already got their people looking already for next season and stuff like that, because that's how this works. But we'll see. But it's who's available. Who could they get? And you pay a premium in January. So I don't know. I think, yeah. And in terms of these next run of fixture, I think Chelsea will be easier. because they will give you space, they will give you chances. We are, even though we've not been so solid, we are a good defensive team still recently. So actually, I think Chelsea away is an easier game than Newcastle away, because Chelsea will not sit there and do 5-4-1 or 4-4-1. Yeah, they will open up. You know, they will open up, and we will find space. Is there anyone in the team to exploit it? Do we have the confidence to exploit it? That will be the challenge, and that's where the mentality comes in. And maybe it's the game that kickstart things. Maybe it's the game that goes a bit like we were hoping with Tottenham game or almost Man City that we, yeah.
I don't want to be that guy, but if Chelsea beat us on next weekend, I don't want to be that guy, but I am going to be. If Chelsea beat us next weekend, there's no chance we win the league. The season's over. The
And
only
the
hope you
Carabao
have
Cup.
is FA Cup, Champions League, and that's it. There's not. In fact, uh, yeah, don't even mention that. The only Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm at this stage now, and after the Newcastle game, straight after the full time whistle, the consensus was, yeah, that's it. The league's over. Obviously, we didn't realize Man City would lose, but it's going to be a mountain to climb. I think this hasn't. No team has won at this stage 7 points behind for the last 35 years. So
Oh,
look, just let's just be realistic. And Tabs, I know you're the voice of reason, and I know that you're the realistic person, and I know that you want
yeah.
to say all the right things. But trust me when I say this is a really, really shit time and a really shit result, and our season is 99% over. Our Premier League season 99% over because of the results and because of the performances. And if we don't, as you say, have this upswing and this huge upturn in performances, then you'll be seeing that on episode 51 as well. I guarantee you. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Look. No, I don't want to think it's over, because then it's like then it makes a bit like, oh, what's the point, sort of thing. So if whilst there's still a chance, there's still a chance. No matter how slim. So I always try and cling on to that. So no, I don't think. I think it's far from over. But yeah, but any more performances like this, then yes, you're right, it's over, and you can forget the results, because performance like this, we ain't winning jack. So again, we need to start turning things around very quickly. Say starting with Chelsea next week. I mean, Inter as well, and I think we need to have the performances to boot, to just give that confidence and give something. And if not, then it is what it is, and fine. Are we a cup team? Because we're difficult to beat. Okay, when we are difficult to beat, and we can get the goal, and this is where the margin. This is where you can win on the margins. You can get away with a few games. You win 1-0, you win on the margins. Over a league, you need those margins to go your way. A cup team is different. So maybe we're a cup team this year, and it may be right. We can't turn our nose up at and this was the discussion I was going to maybe have if we record after Preston. Now we're in the quarter final with a winnable home tie against Palace. We've got to go for this. There's no half measures now. We have to go for it, because otherwise you're going through all this effort and then you basically waste the energy. You saw the City players laughing when they were losing to Tottenham. You saw, was it Haaland and whoever on the bench just laughing, and their team were losing 1-0, because they knew, feet up.
yeah, but it's the Carabao
Yeah.
Cup, Tabs. You cannot be. I'm sorry, but you cannot be saying this. I'm sorry, but listen to yourself. You're saying that we have to give everything into the Carabao Cup. I don't understand. I don't get it. We cannot be. Our egg should not be in the Carabao Cup basket. Our egg should be in the Premier League, Champions League basket. Anything less than Premier League or Champions League this season is a failure for me personally.
Oh, well, we'll have that discussion at the end of the season, because I said no. No, you know me. I'm like, I wouldn't put it at the expense of our league or Champions League. But it gets to a point where, like, you're here now, you might as well make the most of it. Because what's the point of going? What's the point of beating Palace, and then we've got a two-legged semi-final, and then so we still have to play those games. So you might as well just be all in. So Palace, we can still wait and see, but at some point, and who knows what a cup could do for someone. The players need something. I'm not turning on my usual thought at the beginning of the season. I can do without this, but it gets to the point where we're here. Let's get on with it. Get on with it. Then otherwise, what's the point? And we want us to beat Palace. And then if we're in the semi final, we'll want to win that and stuff like that. So I agree. We shouldn't be doing this at the expense. However, it gets to the point where, well, we might as well. But at the beginning of the season, I would be like, what, I'd rather be not in this competition. So and who knows? By the time we get to Palace, if things do go to shit in terms of the league, then right, that's who we are. We're going to be focusing on the Champions League, the FA Cup, and the Carabao Cup, let's see.
No,
Yeah.
no, I don't. I disagree so much, and I love you to bits, Tabs, but I disagree with you so much. If we just win the Carabao Cup this season, you're basically what you're saying is you'll be
No, 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 no,
satisfied because
no. I
we've won
didn't.
the Carabao
That's
Cup.
not what I said. I said if we're here now, we might as well go for it. I didn't say I'll be satisfied. I'll just say we might as well go for it. That's something very different. Whether I see the season as a success overall, there'll be an element to it. But no, I won't. I would be, I'd be disappointed in terms of what's happened either side, but also be happy with the fact that we got the cup. So yeah, no, there's a difference between saying being satisfied versus, well, we're here now, we might as well go for it scenario. That's where I am now
Okay,
with this.
okay.
But those end of season reviews can happen at the end of the season. There's a long way to go.
It might freaking be happening in 2 weeks' time if the players keep playing like they did on Saturday against Newcastle. Anyway, let's move on to part two. This is more exciting because you and I, along with a few others, the likes of Dennis and Charles and Matt and Tom and
Matt, did you
have I
say
missed
Matt?
anyone? I don't think so. I think there's four of them. I said Matt. Yep. So, oh, Sasha. Sasha's coming as well. Um, uh, there's a few of us going to Milan. This will be our first kind of European Grove away day together. Looking forward to that. And let's just talk about what we're looking forward to, and not looking forward to for that game. I'll go first. I'll just say, yeah, I'm looking forward to going to Milan with you guys. I'm going Tuesday to Thursday, so 2 nights in Milan. That'll be fun. And just looking forward to the general. I've never been to Milan before. I've heard it's a really, really nice place to go. I'm looking forward to asking Chat GPT on Monday night just about recommendations of places that I can sightsee on Tuesday. And then not looking forward to same shit, different day, really. I'm just not looking for if we have the same performance, I can do a 1.5 hour train journey back to Edinburgh, fine, from Newcastle. But could I do a 1 hour train and then a 4 hour flight back to Edinburgh after we've played like we did on Saturday? No, I can't. And that's the hardest part about it. That is genuinely the hardest part about it. So I'm not looking forward to the same if that's going to happen. What about you?
Yeah, no. In terms of looking forward to, unfortunately, I've been to the San Siro before. Um, I've got my half and half scarf as a reminder hanging up in my garage.
God.
It was AC Milan versus Bate Borisov in the Champions League back in 2012. I want to say, I can't remember the date on it. So yes, apologies for the half and half haters, but I do have one as a memento of my time there. Yeah, no, it should be a fun trip. And what you'll find, well, I think, look, irrespective of the result, I think the fact that you go away to these trips, you have a bit of fun, it softens the blow if it is a bad result. And also, what you're going to do? We lose, you're gonna be pissed off, and then we'll be back again watching us against Chelsea. Then you'll be back again and again and again because this
Oh,
is what we do
I'll
as fans.
refuse. I'll refuse to watch the
Well,
game against Chelsea.
there we go. I wouldn't want to call you a fair weather fan then, but you got to take the highs with the lows. so,
I've been
so
through many, many of those.
yeah, exactly. And I've been through many, many more too. So anyway, it is what it is. So looking forward to that. That'll be great. It should be a good fun, good trip. Be with the away fans, good atmosphere. I'm not looking forward to my third 0-0 away trip with Arsenal. So I went to the was it UEFA Cup Winners' Cup in Galatasaray against Galatasaray in Copenhagen, where we lost on penalties. That was 0-0. I went to Bergamo for the Atalanta game recently. That was 0-0. So if you're with me, we might get the hat trick of 0-0s. Which would you take? Would you take no injuries, 0-0, 1 point, get out of the San Siro, and be gone with it and move on. Yeah, I don't know whether we can get to that in terms of the predictions, but yeah, so that's not I'm not looking forward to. Is my third international 0-0 with Arsenal.
God, that's just made me feel even worse. Like genuinely.
Well, no, you'll be wishing for it if we're losing 1-0 in the 90th minute. You think, oh God, I wish it was 0-0. But there we
No.
go.
Oh God.
There you go.
Episode 50 was meant to be, and I've even named it the Big
well,
Bonanza.
well, that's
But this is
well,
turning into
blame
one of
Arsenal. That's not our fault. This is the joys of football. Who knows? It's so random. Football's stupid, as they say. So you gotta laugh sometimes instead of crying, and take the joy where you can. And there's a joy to be taken in in the down times as well as the good times. Come on, cheer
yeah.
up.
So
Look,
uh,
it could be worse.
cheer,
It could
cheer.
be
I'm
worse. You could be a
ill.
Chelsea fan. You could be a Tottenham fan. You could be a Man U fan. You could be a Man City. I don't know whether if they're called fans or not. Yeah, So it could be a hell of a lot worse.
Two of those teams have
Oh,
won more trophies than us in the
yeah.
last
Not
5 years.
getting down that road.
Anyway,
Who cares?
anyway,
Who cares? All right, fine. Go and support Man United. You say, hey, I'd rather be Man United with Carabao Cup and FA Cup, and where we are, 14th in the league. Everything's gone to shit. Shit stadium. Shit management. Shit owners. Or be where we are with our history and who we are. So
yeah. Anyway, let's talk about the Milan. So Milan are not a bad team. You know, they're sitting fourth in.
I like that. They're not a bad team. They're okay.
They're not a bad team. They're sitting fourth in Serie A. In fact, I just want to quickly look and see if they have played at the
Yeah, they're
time
playing
of
this evening
recording.
against
Venezia.
Venezia.
By the way,
Yeah,
Venezia, best kits in football history.
yeah,
So sexy.
yeah.
So nice. Currently nil
Okay.
nil, and I'm just looking at their team. They're playing quite a strong team. They're playing, you know, who we'd expect to
Yeah.
play against us essentially. So they're not resting any players. Now, I just don't know, Tabs, what you think. What do you think of you know the lineup? Stop clicking away. I can hear you clicking on your on
I was trying to
the
find the
microphone.
score. Um,
It's nil nil. I
it,
just said that. If you listened to me, then
I,
you would have seen
I don't trust the words you say. So, so in terms of lineup, I don't want to see Partey at right back. I want him back in the middle. I would rather have Timber at right back and play Kivio at left back. So basically, so what happened that the other day against Newcastle? It shows how much he trusts, and we're thinking this year he's going to grow the trust in a lot of players, and it doesn't seem to be the case in the case. So I want to see Partey in midfield. If we have to, Kivio at left back and Timber at right back. Hopefully White will be fit. Have White at right back, Timber at left back. I'd maybe have J9 instead of Trossard. Jesus likes an international. I'd keep with Nelly. You know, I'd keep with Nelly. I think I'd bench Trossard, and I'd most probably have Rice and Partey in the middle. Then Nelly, Havertz, and Saka up front. So that's what I'm thinking. I think there will be a couple of changes.
Apparently,
Yeah,
Odegaard's Arteta said Odegaard's fit for the Milan. He said in this press conference he'll be available for Milan. So we can expect to maybe see him potentially come off the bench for the last maybe 20 minutes of the game, or maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, depending on the result. I really don't know whether we would. I don't know whether we would. You wrote here, would you take a draw? I don't know if that would be the best result for us because obviously we've already drawn one game, and it'd be nice to get some goals just for the goal difference. To be honest, if there's goals to be had.
yeah. Inter Milan away is not Inter Milan away. I don't think unless we pull out like what we did 5-0 away against AC Milan with Fabregas and co. I think it was, I think that was them, wasn't it? Yeah, it's not the place to get goals. I reckon both teams would be happy. It's I don't think. I mean, even though Inter have scored a lot of goals. I think it's going to be a tight 1-0, 0-0, 1-0. It's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. I don't know. I would take a draw away because that would be like 2 wins at home, 2 draws away. We've got more home games that we can get the goals goals against and more away games that we can win. So it's not. I don't think we'll go there looking for a draw, but I think both teams would potentially take it. And I think we'll be set up to be hard to beat as opposed to overly attacking. But yeah, no, it's not going to be easy. To be an amazing atmosphere. As I said, Inter score goals. We've got a couple of injuries that might help us, but yeah. So yeah, that's I think it's just going to be tight. I think it's just going to be a tight, low scoring.
They drew 0-0 with Man City as well. Remember, so drawing 0-0 with Man City's not an easy thing to do. Not many teams can go to the Etihad and get a draw. So yeah, looking forward to it. So what's your prediction then for the game? Don't say it.
0-0. They're missing actually Serbi, I think, from one of their main centre backs. They normally, I think, they play a back three, and he's one of the key ones. And Kanaloglu, important player in the midfield, so that may help. But yeah, I think 0-0. But then they got Thuram, they got Martinez. Oh Jesus, Barella. No, 0-0.
I'm going the complete opposite. I'm going 3-2 Arsenal, and that's more for hope that we score goals, and also just when you're away from home, you just want to see a great game. So yeah, I'm going 3-2 Arsenal.
So no tactical analysis in terms of we're going to exploit this, that, and the other. No, sod it. I want a 3-2. I'm going to manifest it. I want 3-2. I'm going to manifest 3-2.
I'm manifesting that, and I'm manifesting when we do episode 100. It's not as we've not been playing as badly. I'll need to message the players again and just say, look, what the hell's going on? What are you guys playing at? But no, yeah,
You're going 3-2.
I'm going 3-2.
I
I'm going
would love
3-2.
3-2. I would love 3-2. I'm just joking along with my current record away from home.
Yeah, so I will see you on Wednesday and
Indeed.
in Milan. We will have lunch. I think you're here for lunchtime, are you not? So we'll have
I know,
some lunch
I
together.
know I'm getting a stupid o'clock flight. I think about 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:30 in the morning. So yeah, I'll definitely be there for lunch.
Oh, does that mean you're gonna? Because we're staying in the same Airbnb. Are you gonna knock on the door and wake me up at stupid o'clock in the morning?
No, I don't. I can't remember, but we'll
Okay,
see.
because
But
if
yeah,
that's
no.
the case,
Because by the time it
you
gets
can just
through,
go for breakfast in Milan, and I'll tell you
oh,
when I woken up.
you're in Milan. You should be up early and going sightseeing and stuff like that. So there you
I'm not well. I'm
go.
not well. Uh, just before we go, I want to say again a huge thank you to everyone who listens, everyone who comments, everyone who gives us feedback, everyone who just takes their time out of the day to listen to Tabs chat shit and for me to have measured and cultured opinions on this podcast. And 50 episodes for any podcast is not an easy thing to do. It's no mean feat. It's taken a lot of time and effort and a lot of hard work with people behind the scenes. But Tabs, I just wanted to say thanks to you because without you, none of this would be possible. And you're just honestly the most fun person to be around. It's just who'd have thought, 2-3 years ago, before we even knew each other existed, that we would become friends. Well, I hope you'd consider me as a friend. So,
I'm still reserving judgment.
so no, I just want to say thanks to you and thanks for stepping in the last few weeks as well when life has got in the way and I've been busy with work and other things. So I dedicate this episode to you, Tabs, episode 50, and look, dedicate it to you because it's pretty much the same age as you as well. So
It's close. It is not wrong. I'm 51, so no. Thank you. That kind words. It's just a bit of fun. We do this as a hobby. It was nice to talk. Yeah, I've got an opinion. I'm happy to share it. If people want to listen to it, good for them. They agree. They don't agree. That's the good thing about football and what we do, and that's most of the talk on with the Grove on the chat at the Horatia and every time we meet. So no, it's great to share this with whoever cares to listen. So thank you, Moz, and thank you, listeners.
Yeah, thank you. And if anyone is in Milan and they want to come and meet the Grove, we're not celebrities by any stretch of the
Oh,
imagination, but
God.
give one of us a message, and we'll be more than happy to meet up with you guys before the game, or in the ground or whatever. Just and if you see us, come and say hello. There's a couple of guys from the Arsenal Scotland contingent that will, I'm sure, tag along. So yeah, by all means, see us. Tabs will sign some autographs, and I'll give you guys a selfie. It's bye from me. See you soon, Tabs.
Ciao, ciao.